Hello guys and gals of the internet. It is the Sim Chaos of YouTube, Mixer.com and Twitch TV. I find myself saying this quite a lot recently, but here we are for yet another absolute classic from my gaming past, Star Wars Republic Commando, the original Xbox game, now available to play through Xbox backwards compatibility, my apologies, as they have somehow, some way, through sheer wow, have made it possible to play Xbox original games on the Xbox One. Now, I've never been a big fan of backwards compatibility. I've always thought that really we're kind of in the age where we really should be focusing on games with all sorts of new technology and stuff like that. But apparently there is an audience for this. There is an absolute audience for wanting to play older games on newer consoles for some reason. I'm not particularly on board with it. I really think we should be focusing more on the forward of technology, but there is quite an audience for it, and if I'm going to be honest, I am a little bit of a critic, but not as bad as you guys might think, because I have a story to tell that I've already mentioned before, that when I got my PlayStation 2, I was under the impression that you would not be able to play PlayStation 1 games anymore. So I had my whole collection of PlayStation 1 games just sitting there wondering, what am I going to do with them now? I always used to play it on my brother's original PlayStation because he had a PlayStation 1. So I always used to, when he wasn't playing on it, I used to pop my games in, play for a bit, and then he'd use it again. My mom comes into the room and goes, at one point, you do know you can play PlayStation 1 games on your PlayStation 2, right? And I was like, what? Really? And sure enough, it worked. And I was quite chuffed because that preserved an entire collection of games that I really thought I wasn't going to play anymore. So, whereas I'm not the hugest kind of guy for it, it's not what sold the console for me, kudos to the Xbox team for curating this because it allows me to play through this game. This game was one of my absolute favorites. Republic Commando was a game I never owned for myself. My brother, that I mentioned, owned it. And I played it, and I absolutely... Oh, wow. Oh my god, the original Xbox boot up screen, they actually did that? Okay, that's pretty sweet. I will give them that. Wow. That is pretty darn sweet. But yeah, Star Wars Republic Commando I absolutely loved. It's kind of a in-between storyline, kind of set between episodes 2 and 3. It actually starts with the Battle of Geonosis in Star Wars Episode 2 from the second trilogy, as it were. And it goes into just before the big Battle of Kashyyyk in Episode 3. Because that's where the game ends. And I absolutely loved it. And I think, this game came out in a time where Star Wars games were at the height of their popularity. There was Star Wars Battlefront the original, there was hype for Battlefront 2, and then this came out. And yeah, it's such a great breath of fresh air, And of course you had Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic in that. I haven't played that game myself, but I hear it's one of the best Star Wars games ever made. So yeah, this came out really at the height of powers for Star Wars. Unfortunately now, we're not really in that anymore. We're kind of criticizing Battlefront 2 for its loot boxes, the new Battlefront 2 and stuff. So it's not how the mighty have fallen really, but it is quite drastic. And of course, many years after this game, The Force Unleashed 1 and 2 came out, which were two of my favorite Star Wars games ever, which actually featured one of my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe in Starkiller. They are also backwards compatible on Xbox One, so I will play those in the future. Because I love those games. I'm not really sure what any of this means. I have not seen this menu in fucking years. But yeah, another trip to my gaming past, and that's not all, guys. We will be using another one in the future, because not only is this game available, but the two Battlefront games are available. Funny that we talk about those. I won't be playing through those really. It's kind of unfortunate that the original Battlefront 2 didn't get any multiplayer features. I think that's quite of a shame, but one game that did make it to the backwards compatibility catalog for original Xbox games was a game called Full Spectrum Warrior. That game was fun as hell. I loved that game, so that's another one I'll be playing at some point in the future. And I'm saying that a lot these days, aren't I? We've had Fahrenheit, we've had Red Dead Revolver, we've got Star Wars Republic Commando, and we'll have Full Spectrum Warrior. So even though, like I said, I'm not the biggest supporter of, well, I wouldn't say I'm a supporter. I would say that, you know, it wouldn't have mattered whether backwards compatibility was on the console or not. You know, because I wasn't really thinking, at the time, I wasn't really into my YouTube thing. You know, I'd only been in the game for about a year. And then over the next like year or so, I started to think of a bucket list I wanted to play. Resident Evil 2, the original, is certainly one of them. But that's very unlikely now. I might get a PS3 at some point, but it's looking increasingly unlikely. And then, of course, later on in time, we had Fahrenheit, and now we got this, now we had Red Dead Revolver, and it's just, yeah. I would have never seen myself playing this, but here we go. Anyway, enough talking. Can't believe it.
Welcome, little one. This is your first day. Your designation will be RP-01/138. We
Baby
expect
clone.
great things from you.
Nah.
You have been
So you're
born
actually
to
witnessing your
endless
creation
time.
during the Clone
A
Wars.
sharp mind can be the key to survival.
Shit,
That
I
is
actually didn't
often
look at the
as not.
controls.
It will be your inherent physical traits that win the day.
Can I pause and not skip the cutscene? Yeah, I want to have a quick look at the controls. Default Xbox controller configuration. Obviously, they'll change it for you know, the black and white button that was on, like, as you can see here. It's not actually telling me what those buttons are. I'm guessing they're going to be the bumpers. Next set. Throw detonator is left trigger. I need to remember that then. Zoom is click right. Crouch is click left. Oh, that's weird. We'll get used to it. Alright. We'll get used to it. I don't want to change the controls because it might muck it
And
up.
in this regard, you will be superior to your more common brethren. For you are a commando, an elite unit, something truly special.
So yeah, they're
Your
basically
weapons,
a secret
Your
order.
armor, and most importantly, your
It's
brothers.
a bit like the Cult of Skaro, but these guys are the good guys.
The Ifer of our world hunt in pods to bring down much larger prey. So too shall you join the three brothers and become
07 is
fierce
freaking
hunters of the
awesome.
Republic.
I love that guy.
Now,
I'm just
join
saying.
your pod and embrace your destiny
He's so
as their
darn cool.
leader.
I love him.
Join Delta Squad. Delta 40, your foundation. A pure and uncomplicated soldier. 6-2, the heart and soul of your team. And 07, the fiercest hunter of all your brothers.
Hey, buddy.
You are each a piece of a whole person. And the Republic will call you to defend and give your lives if need be.
I was so gutted that this never got a sequel. Because it was really set up for one. It could have had one.
Sergeant, get those troopers into the gunship. Ready for liftoff. New gunship. Okay, Group B, let's move it. Let's go. Push those cannons to the stern. Load the ammo and the ordnance. Let's go. Let's go.
Sir, we're gonna split up for the drop, but we'll meet you at the RV on Geonosis. See you planetside, sir.
You guys remember that PlanetSide game? I don't. I mean, I remember that it was a PlanetSide games, but I only played for a little bit. So as you can see, these guys are heading for Geonosis. They're basically, you know, the kind of doing the finding behind the scenes as you kind of do in these kind of unofficial stories, if you like. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but on my TV, and you're probably seeing it through your screen, on your tablet or computer or whatever you're viewing this on right now, if I remember rightly, I think a lot of the Xbox exclusive, like Xbox original games, were Xbox One X enhanced, meaning they had like kind of enhancements and texture like upgrades and stuff like that. Now, unfortunately, as I'm recording this in 720p, you probably won't see it, but it's actually full screen, which is really cool. Like a full screen resolution on the on my TV right now, and that's awesome. So they actually put work into making these games better. It kind of beats out PlayStation, to be honest.
It's nice to see they finally unhooked you from the simulators. I've been assigned as your advisor, and will be your eye in the sky until further notice, or we all get killed.
Fair enough.
Once you are on the ground, you will rendezvous with Delta Squad. Delta 6-2 is nearby. Your first objective is to find him and link up. The squad objective remains: find Sun Fac and eliminate him. I will be issuing further orders as you go. Good luck,
what a name.
Commando.
Yeah, you could probably hear the music in the background there. Another one of those games that really holds true to the source
Okay,
material.
we're above the LZ. Hook in. Look out!
Oh
I
shit!
will be providing you with support and tactical information as necessary. Tactical information will be displayed on your heads-up display as holographic projections. Text communications will be displayed in this area.
I'm gonna keep pressing left trigger to
Your
aim.
primary target is the Geonosian leader, Sun Fac. Delta lead, it is absolutely vital that Sun Fac not escape. Delta lead, are you alright? You just took an anti-infantry round. Your vitals don't look very good. Heal yourself with Vector before you go any further. There's a medical station in your vicinity.
Where is it? Use the Vector dispenser, stand in front of the device and hold down the button. Okay. Where is it? It's over here? Okay, we're going.
Proceed to the next Vector station and plug in. You'll see a tall device with a cross on it scanning 100%. You are ready to proceed.
Pull back together, Victor! Pull back!
New objective uploaded. Get over to the crashed gunship. Updating location to objective tracker. The objective tracker will point towards your next target.
Ooh, I might change that a little bit. Can we, I don't think we can. No, I don't think there's a way to, you know, when you crouch, it stands back up. I would have rather had it liked to stay crouched, but it doesn't do that apparently. So, objective tracker points to your next target on location. Distance to the target is displayed inside the ring. When your objective is in view, the 4 arrows will point towards the precise location. Okay.
3-8, secure the area in front of the crash gunship.
Yeah, this is looking great right now. That boy is taking fucking rounds. Got him. There you go.
Well done, 3-8. Move to the next waypoint.
We need a medic!
Could screw that up, couldn't I?
Check it out! Commandos! If they're anything as good as I hear, they can practically win the war themselves. Sir, you're heading into enemy territory. It's thick with droids and bugs. We're erecting barricades.
Ah, yes. Good old stormtroopers.